I'm joined by Neal Couture, CEO of the American Society for Non-Destructive Testing. Thank you for joining me, Neal.
Happy to be here, Debbie.
We've been planning NDT Week for quite a long time. We're bringing together ASNT, ASTM, and AWS. What do you think is the best reason to bring together all three organizations to talk about standards and certifications?
Well, it's really simple, Debbie. The fact that all of these are organizations that have a hand in the codes and standards for the NDT field. So each organization has its own mechanisms and processes for developing standards or codes, and they operate independently of one another. And so we figured, let's get the whole system in a room and try and find where there are gaps or conflicts, because we're all talking about the same things having to do with NDT. And we're also the same people in the room. So the volunteers that are at ASNT's meetings are also at the AWS meetings talking about NDT, and at the ASTM E7 meetings. So it's a lot of common interest and common challenges that we're just trying to solve together.
So technology such as AI, ML is evolving so fast now. We've moved beyond the buzzwords. So it's being put into industry even quicker than ever.
Yeah.
How do you envision collaboration helping us maintain our standards and certifications in alignment with the pace of innovation?
Just like any new technology, AI is adopted at various rates and paces, depending on how ready organizations are to adopt them and the kind of cost benefit that comes with it. So we've seen that while a lot of organizations are developing new AI tools or things that help them process their work quicker, let's say that, and they're being adopted at different paces. There's a different level of trust. Being focused on safety and health and quality, we have to take that conservative approach. So what we're seeing is a lot of relatively modest developments using AI to make either products or services better or faster or more efficient. So it's not what I would call widespread adoption, but it's probably appropriate for the work that we do. So I expect that pace of change is going to increase as, for example, equipment companies update their equipment to include different tools to get the data and analyze the data quicker or more reliably. I think once there's a good history of trust with AI tools that are developed, then it'll get widespread adoption. I think it's just going to take a little time to get to that level of trust.
What do you say to those organizations or those companies that don't seem to be embracing AI?
Just like when the day happened when we all got PCs on our desk. I'm old enough to remember those days. A lot of people said, "Why are you putting this on my desk? I don't need it." It's just part of change. It's part of development. We learn to use these tools in ways that make sense for us, and at some point in time, they just become dominant. They become readily accepted. Again, when it's trusted, when the cost benefit is there, and when enough people have the skills and training. So what I see right now happening is people are getting those skills either individually, independently of their employer or with their employer. And as those skills become widespread, as people come out of college or out of trade schools with skills understanding how to use AI tools, then I think that's going to be a major shift. It's just eventually a matter of time. It's going to be there. Whether it's probably not going to be in the next 12 months, but it's going to take a little time. But it's going to happen.
So how do you envision the role of the NDT professional evolving in conjunction with these tools?
I think the role of NDT is going to shift a bit. I think you're probably going to see more people engaged in the data side of NDT. So right now, a lot of NDT workers are involved in the data acquisition side, so actually going onto a job site, handling equipment, doing tests, and then data is brought back to a central location perhaps where it's analyzed. I think what you're going to see is the need for more skill on the data side, to be able to take large data sets, find not only what's happening with this particular incident or this particular part or whatever, to find what the trends are, what's really happening across the board, across the assets the organization owns, to be able to make more informed decisions, leading to that where we are in some ways already, which is the predictive maintenance and spending less money inspecting and more money monitoring and preventing, I think is where you're going to see it happen. I don't think NDT is going to change in the physics of NDT isn't changing. I think what you're going to see is some need for additional skills, especially in the area of using tools to understand the data
right.
as it's developed, and faster and more reliably.
So ASNT talks a lot about workforce development,
Yeah.
and everyone agrees that we're facing a workforce challenge. Where do you think the NDT community needs to focus its energy right now to effectively build the pipeline of new technicians?
I think it's a series of things. There's no one solution, no panacea for this problem. I think we have to continue, ASNT has to continue focusing on mining the pathways that already exist, like trade schools, making sure that we have good trade schools, community colleges, degree granting programs, because we need all of those methods to enter the field to be producing new workers. But that's not going to solve the problem. It's already a problem. What we have is other pathways which are using technology to make the work that we do more efficient. So the solution isn't necessarily going to be found in more bodies. It's going to be found in a combination of finding the bodies we need while supplementing and changing the work that we do to be more efficient. So in other words, productivity. And the data that we have on demographics makes it clear that there's no next generation just waiting for us to pluck them and bring them into the field.
Right.
So I also expect worker efficiency to not only improve but to extend. I think you're going to see people, instead of retiring traditionally, like, well, I hit 65, I'm gone. I think those people, we're already seeing it, they continue their careers in less ways. They're not working as many hours, they may be a consultant. But I think that trend is going to continue to grow as well to fill some of those gaps.
And circling back to AI, do you think that the introduction of these new high-tech tools will help the industry attract a younger generation of digital natives to the field?
I think any new generation of talent has interest in doing things that are meaningful, things that are interesting, things that are rewarding. And NDT has all those elements built in, right? The making the world a safer place, which is kind of our motto. But I think that if we don't incorporate and adopt technology tools, it'll be harder and harder to attract those people. They'll find something that they find is more interesting.
Right.
And so I think it's inherent in the growth of the field that we're going to adopt those tools, just for the reasons I said earlier. But I do think it will lend itself to making the field attractive to new professionals entering. And by the way, not only young people, but mid-career people who may be a truck driver or some inventory control specialist, or any number of fields that are in a company right now that are in the company but not involved in non-destructive testing. We find a lot of people are moving laterally into NDT because of the opportunity and the interesting work. It's more interesting perhaps than sitting in a storeroom all day. So I think those are all important aspects, and I think AI is just going to help that.
I think you make a really good point, because in my 10 years at ASNT, and I've seen not just young people entering the field, but you have an older generation that are making a change, that you said, like, are going from that truck driver or going from some other field, that learn about NDT and realize that I can do this.
Yep.
And I think now with the other opportunities with AI and ML, that there's even more opportunities for people at any point in their career to make a change.
Absolutely, and NDT pays well.
Right.
And I think that's an easy, it makes the selling job a lot easier. So interesting work, cool technology, pays well. Well, why wouldn't I want to do that, right?
Now, as technology evolves, What about standards? How can standards need to rethink how we certify people?
Yeah. I think this is I think we're in a time, not just AI, but I think we're in a time where we have to re-examine a lot of the systems that we have that we've been relying on for 50, 60 years. So what is qualification? What is certification? How is that done? How do we ensure that the work that we produce is trustworthy? How do we ensure that the people that are doing that work are properly trained? So ASNT is paying a lot of attention to essentially how employees in NDT get qualified and certified.
Right.
The TC1A system, the ISO 9712 standard. So we have to make sure that that system is updated and made absolutely as good as it can be. So things like demonstration or personal demonstration of skills to qualify someone. So we've moved in that direction over the last 20 years through the 9712 standard, but I think it has to go further. I also expect that standards that are in the workplace having to do with NDT are going to have to be re-examined to say, wait a minute, we've got entirely new lines of technology out here. How does AI fit into this? That hasn't been thought of before, obviously. So we have to pay attention to the standards regimes across all of our industry to make sure that we're picking up on what's actually happening out in the field to make sure we continue that reliable NDT performance. It could mean some relatively minor changes. It could be some overhauls. I don't know. That's why we're here today and this week. But I also expect that one of the challenges we have is to move faster. So standard setting regimes, practices that most associations have or independent standard organizations is too slow. It's
Right.
on a 4 to 6 to 10 year sometimes cycle. And it's based on time as opposed to need for change most of the time. That has to change. We have to make sure that we update, change, improve the standards and the codes timely. And I don't know if our systems are ready for that. It's a little bit of a shock to the system. And when I bring up things like, well, we have to have an out of cycle revision to a publication, that's never been done. Well, we have to think of the fact that the world is changing perhaps faster than it did once, where a 4-year or 8-year cycle was fine. That's not acceptable anymore. So we have to be able to be nimble in that regard.
What do you think ASNT's role is in leading that change in an industry that a lot of the things that we've done go back 50 years?
I mean, all ASNT is its members. We are the profession, we are the field. And what we hear is what is reflected in the work that we do. So as members come to us and say, these things need to change faster. So this isn't something we just created one day. This is what's actually happening in the world. So I think that that's going to continue to be the case. We're going to reflect the needs and interests and requirements of the work and the field as it's presented to us, as opposed to us deciding what those things are. That's why all of this work that we do is pretty much dependent on volunteer members, right? The people that are in the field doing the work. So I think that is going to continue. It's challenging because as a volunteer, you can only spend so much time doing that sort of thing. You have a regular job.
Right.
So ASNT has to play a different role sometimes. We have to maybe be a little more facilitative or a little more initiating in some of those activities to get the work done, the timeliness that we need. But I think at the end of the day, nothing's going to change with that. It's always going to be by the members, for the members, about the members, as part of a field.
And I think that change begins with the fact that we actually are having NDT Week, where we're bringing these 3 organizations together.
Absolutely.
What are you most excited about during your time here at NDT Week?
Well, I really think that I'm excited to see what's possible, you know, because we always, you know, kind of a little reluctant to tackle big projects or learn or try new things. It's, you know, it's a little bit of burden on us. So I'm interested to see how quick and how ready the community is to make the changes that we need, how ready they are for change. Always, as a membership society, always great to see the people and the familiar faces that we know.
Sure.
But also to see where the opportunities are between the organizations, those connecting points that we haven't really been historically great at. You know, we've always had our friends at AWS and our friends at ASTM and frankly other associations, but we've always kept arm's length relationships, you know, like just peeking over the fence at them. And I think there's opportunity for us to do this in a more cohesive way, and more collaboration. And I think this is a test of that. We've got good leadership at both of those organizations that are interested in that kind of collaboration. So we're going to try and take advantage of that.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. I
My
really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Thank
I'm
you,
very
Debbie.
excited for NDT Week, and thank you.
Happy to be here. Thank you.